If you have a clean recorded signal and you want to make it sound more aggressive, distortion colors the audio signal with various types and varying amounts of distortion. In this example, we're going to use distortion to apply it to our bass track. Let's take a listen to this drum and bass loop. Using the drive knob allows you to increase the drive input volume of the signal from 0 dB, which is no distortion, to 60 dB, which is way too much distortion. Sometimes an increase of 1 or 2 decibels can make a big difference. So a boost of 8 or 9 dB makes the distortion audible for this bass track. You can compensate the volume boost by using the output volume knob. You can also mix in some of the dry signal. So just like most of the other Air plugins in this collection, you can use the mix knob to mix the dry and wet signal. Using the tone controls, you can adjust the pre-shape. So the pre-shape works like a treble boost before the distortion. So if I increase this to the right, you're adding a little bit more bite to the distortion. But if you put this the opposite direction, it makes the distortion sound a little bit darker. Now that we've added more bite to the distortion, let's decrease the high cut value. So this will cut off all the frequencies above that selection right there. We can also type this in. And using distortion can help fatten up synths, bass tracks, and more traditionally, guitars, Rhodes, those types of organic instruments. Let's talk about the clipping mode. So with the clipping, you have the threshold control. If you increase this all the way up to 0 dB, then you're getting a full dynamic range. But if you decrease this, you're going to notice that the sound is going to sound more squashed. That means you're decreasing the headroom. You're decreasing the dynamic range. Let's turn the volume up of our track. And using the DC bias control allows you to change the clipping from being symmetrical to being asymmetrical. Okay, let's reset these settings. You also have different types of distortion modes. You have hard, which provides a very sharp and immediate distortion. You have soft, which is a little bit more gradual. Let's listen to that one. And then lastly, you have wrap. So this wraps the waveform back into itself, creating a complex distortion. For the wrap mode, you really want to be sensitive with the drive knob because this can really overdo it. Let's bring down the high cut. Increase the threshold here so we have a little bit more dynamic range. And then let's mix in some of the dry signal. So by using the mix knob, it allows us to increase the drive boost. That way we can blend in some of the more distorted signal with the dry signal. So we're getting the tone of the distortion, but we're also able to mix in the original dry bass signal. But as you can hear, rap mode is just very, very aggressive. This is a very complex type of distortion. And then lastly, you have the stereo mode. So this entire time we've been listening to it in mono mode because the stereo button is off. However, if you click the stereo button, it will take a stereo signal and process the left and right channel separately. But because this is a bass track, then we want to leave it in mono. So that's a look at the Air Distortion. Comes in very handy from taking a clean signal and making it sound more aggressive.